Are people flocking to Florida again? I got some interesting updates to share with you today that I don't know how to wrap my head around completely, and I'll share everything that you need to know, but let's get started. We serve the Sarasota down to Port Charlotte, Inglewood areas as real estate team, and also the Orlando Metro. And all of a sudden, man, like the last month, at least 3 weeks, we've been crazy busy. And I got some more information about to kind of like back this up that, you know, things are maybe getting a little busier. But first, I just want to backtrack a little bit and share a little bit about, like, you know, what the narrative is right now about Florida. And that's basically that, you know, no one wants to buy here anymore. It's too expensive. You know, interest rates are too high. Places are sitting. There's price cuts. And of course, you've got your, you know, YouTubers out there that really push the doom and gloom side of things, you know, like, oh, everything's going to crash in every state, or Florida for sure. You know, we'll always talk about how it's going to crash, and insurance and property taxes, and there's going to be an entire, you know, stock market crash. You know, anything they can find that's negative, that's going to get clicks, because that's how they make their money, right? So there's a lot of that going, but also the mainstream media is starting to, like, you know, pick up on this a little bit more, that places are sitting across the United States, but especially Florida, etc. We'll probably have this video go live before this other one that I'm going to reference, because there's another video I just filmed, but we'll probably have it live later, about how basically our insurance went down $300 this year. And just to tell you how much it is, so you don't think, oh, well, it's like $7,000 and you went down to $6,700, whoop-de-doo. No, that's not what happened. We were at $2,600, living about 2 miles from the beach without hurricane impact windows or shutters. It is a new-ish home, but our insurance went down to $2,300 from $2,600 a year, not a month. Because some of you might think it might be a month, a year. And so that's got a little better. Home prices have come down. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to. In fact, I'm excited about that. I think that's great. You know, like a lot of people think, oh, these realtors are greedy and they want, you know, the prices to just keep going. No, we want it to be affordable so you guys can come move here if you want to move here. You know what I mean? We want it to be possible for you. We want people happy. That's our number one. If people are happy, people keep coming and they keep working with us. That's the best scenario. You know what I mean? But home prices have come down a little bit. Actually, a fair amount. You know, we're talking in the Sarasota Metro, like as a whole, the Sarasota County, I should say. Over the course of the last 2 years, it's been flat, slightly down, is I think a good way of explaining it. You know, median sale price, I'd say there's fluctuations, but as a whole, over the course of 2 years, we've seen it come down about 40 to 50K. Pretty substantial when you put it all together. And if that were to continue another couple of years, I don't know that it will necessarily. A lot of things that go into that, such as interest rates, the stock market, employment, all those things. But that being said, that is where we're at. So, you know, everyone was talking about the high price though, with insurance coming up, property taxes, you know, interest rates, home values, everything's just got expensive. And I'm not here to dispute that one bit. And that sort of had a lot of people put the brakes on moving to Florida. But in those 2 years since a lot of that started happening, with the insurance coming up and the interest rates coming up and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people have decided to finally put their homes on the market. They've been sitting a little bit longer, so inventory built up a little bit, definitely higher than it has been in quite a while. And again, I want to put some context on this, because I'm sure if you're watching this, you might be watching a lot of other real estate channels or doom and gloom channels. And so they'll talk about how high the inventory is. And for sure, that could be a worrisome indicator and metric. But when we talk about inventory, you can't just look at inventory on its own, because that's not accounting for the amount of people that are gobbling up that inventory, right? If there's 10 homes on the market, but no one's looking to move to Florida, that's a really high inventory, even if it's just 10 homes, right? If not a single soul is coming down. But if we got 1 million homes on the market and there's 2 million people looking to move and trying to actively actually buy homes, that's not very much inventory. You got to take both things into the equation, which is why we always look at months of supply. And that takes both of those things into the equation. It basically says, you know, with this many homes on the market and the rate that they're being bought at right now, it would take this many months for all the homes to be sold if no more homes came on the market. So it's a nice, clean, simple, easy to understand metric to look at that. So we've seen that months of supply go up. We've seen inventory obviously went up quite a bit, but months of supply has went up, but not as dramatically, because there is actually still been a pretty decent amount of desire and people looking to move the area and actually moving to the area, eating up some of that inventory. But with places sitting a little longer, it's helped build up that inventory in the months of supply. We've seen insurance rates start to come down a little bit, home prices come down a little bit. People are willing to negotiate, and you can maybe, depending on how long the place has been on the market. Again, if you're looking to buy or sell from Port Charlotte down to Inglewood or the Orlando Metro, get a hold of us so we can help you navigate that process and get the best possible deal. 941-221-1897. But depending on how long the place is on the market, you could maybe get it well below asking or a little below asking. And then the insurance coming down. I think a lot of people are starting to see all these things, you know what I'm saying? And between insurance coming down, the home prices coming down, the property taxes, because if the home values are going down, then that also means your property taxes will go down a little bit if you're just coming into the state to buy for the first time. And you look at all those things and you start to put them together, it becomes a little bit more attractive. And I think we're starting to see a lot of people just, one, seeing all those factors and saying, you know what, I've been wanting to move for a while, now seems like a good enough time. I don't know if things are gonna get better or lower in insurance or home prices or whatever the case may be, but I think it's good enough. And I think we're gonna see interest rates go down in the next couple of years here, to a reasonable level, or maybe, not like it was during COVID, of course, but better than they are right now. So I think you get a lot of people seeing that, number one. Number two, they're just sick of waiting. I think there's a lot of people that kind of were just like, you know what, I've been wanting to move to Florida. I don't think it's affordable right now, whatever the issue may be, or maybe the timing just wasn't right. And a lot of people were waiting, or they were waiting for the interest to come down. And eventually they're just like, you know what, good enough. Things are getting better now. And I just been having this dream of moving to Florida. And you know what, I'm just gonna make it happen, right? And then the third, and this kind of ties into the first reason in some ways, is new construction. Is just, there is some incentives to be had. Wow. We helped a client save $90,000 on a home. Now again, context is everything, the price of the home, all that. I won't get into the details of like the home price, but it was, higher priced home, but $90,000, between all the different incentives and things like that. There's some pretty cool opportunities right now in Florida, and like, who doesn't, well, I shouldn't say who doesn't, because some people don't, but a lot of people like the idea of a new construction home, you know what I mean? Just for the peace of mind. There are some options out there. I know one of the big reasons I said not everyone is because some people, they don't like the cookie cutter style of new construction homes, but there's some builders out there that do some very artistic, almost I would say, things. In fact, there's one community in Sarasota called Artistry, which gorgeous homes and very unique. They're definitely not cookie cutter. So there's some options for that out there. But just as a whole, I think the incentives, and then also what that's doing to, again, back to the first reason a lot of people are moving to Florida, with those incentives out there and people seeing that as being the more attractive option, that's putting downward pressure on resale homes now. And now they're willing to negotiate, and those prices are coming down and or doing price cuts, and whatever the case may be, whether that's just a price cut or a price cut and then it still sits on the market because it's still too expensive for most people. And so now they put an offer below the asking price and save even more, you know what I mean? And we helped a lot of people with that as well, with saving a lot of extra money on the asking price. You got to know how to navigate all that process and do it the right way to really maximize it. All those things together are starting, I think, to give people a little more desire to move to the area right now. Now, some more reasons I think that buyers are coming back to Florida. I've been taking a peek. I got to look a little deeper to really go into the numbers, but that months of supply metric, it's crazy. It shot up in some of the different areas we serve, Venice and Northport actually, like a month or two ago, and now it's really low again. I shouldn't say really low, but it's like more almost seller's market territory in some of the areas, not everywhere, but like around like 3-ish months of supply, 3.5. But we've been seeing some pretty big ups and downs. Another reason that I'm starting to think buyers might be flocking back to Florida. So like I said, we've been really, really busy the last few weeks. And so we've had a lot of clients wanting to look at the same properties. And here's an interesting thing, actually. The summer months are usually the slow time for a lot of Florida, because usually in the winter, a lot of people are here, so they put their home on the market while they're down here. And then also there's a lot of people down here vacationing and snowbirding and whatever the case may be. So there's just a lot more people, and the inventory typically moves more in most of Florida. Orlando is kind of a different animal on some of that, but especially like the Sarasota down to Port Charlotte, Inglewood, Venice area where we live, like this area is generally typically slow in the summers, but it's been pretty busy for us, right? And so like when we've been trying to go to some of these showings too, we've been having to work around other people's appointments. We've been talking to other agents that we know, and they're like, oh, we actually just looked at the same home that you did. And so like, it's just been interesting to kind of see that side of things change a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's a little more like of a competition, you know, with literal competition with people trying to see these same homes and get an offer in on them. I'm gonna go over this little creek here thing. Ooh. There might be a gator in there. That's some murky water. Just seeing some of that competition come back has been interesting. And here's a couple other things, and I'm also gonna share those some stories for you on how maybe things are not getting like crazy. So again, we always wanna keep things real with you on this channel and be honest and transparent. But we've actually had some clients wanna look at certain homes, and if they're priced well, they're going like this. And they're like, man, wish we would have put an offer in on that place, but now it's gone. Now there's also some places that have been on the market like hundreds of days, and you can go and put in a pretty good offer, you know, compared to the list price, and they'll at least entertain it and probably negotiate depending on what the offer is. Again, we can help you with that. But so there are places out there though that are going pretty quick. On top of that, we were helping some buyers at a new construction community. And this community, we were talking to the seller's agent, and basically he was saying like, yeah, things have been like crazy the last, like literally the same weeks. We were like, all of a sudden things just picked up. He's like, yeah, me too. And so we talked to another couple agents, both buyers and sellers agents with new construction and just, you know, sellers for resale homes, their agents. And we're hearing a lot of the same sort of thing going on at the moment. So it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. I understand this is more just kind of like a small scale story and maybe not macro numbers, but again, with the months of supply that we've been seeing in some of the areas, that seems to indicate things have got a little more competitive and gobbled up some of the inventory as well. So I guess, you know, we'll see how things continue to play out on that side of things, but it does seem like things are getting a little more competitive. In fact, things have been so competitive that I've been struggling to find the time to film these videos to keep up with the YouTube channel. So if you do appreciate the content, hit the like button. But finally, to give something on the other side of the coin, we have seen this to a level that we have not, since we moved to Venice, which, man, I don't even know, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, 4 years ago? No, it was more than 4 years ago. Anyways, it's been a while that we've been here in Venice, and we've been in Orlando, you know, a couple years before that. So we've been in Florida for quite some time at this point, and we know the areas very well. And we've seen a lot, you know, with new construction. I don't remember a time that I have seen so many signs along the road for new construction homes. And we're talking everything, running the gamut. I'm talking about builders that build on like vacant lots in maybe like South Venice or Northport, and it's not a new construction community. It's just, you know, like a spec home or maybe slightly custom. And, you know, they just build on these scattered lots. We've seen signs for those. We always kind of have, but definitely seeing more of those. But then on top of that, here's the thing that's kind of crazy to me. We've been seeing signs, well, two different kinds of signs I should mention actually. Signs saying we love realtors. Now, if you know anything about the negotiation process and how things were during COVID, if they can cut out the realtor, they would love to. Because first of all, this is something you should know. If you're looking to buy new construction, get a hold of us. We can help you save some money, and it does not cost you anything extra. A lot of people think it will because the builder will make you think that way. But here's the thing. They have a budget allocated to pay the realtors. It doesn't get added on to your cost of the home, and now you have someone representing you, keeping an eye on the building process, especially if you're out of state. And, you know, we can make sure things are going according to plan and, you know, getting done properly, the whole 9 yards. And on your timeline. They're starting to say now, like, no, because they wanted to save that money that they had to allocate for the realtors. We didn't want to deal with the realtors during, you know, when things were crazy during COVID and everyone was moving down to Florida. Well, now to see signs like we love realtors and we're offering this commission, and like they want you to know that, hey, we want you to bring us buyers. That tells you something, right? So that also is like, I know I'm kind of giving you conflicting things here, but again, we keep it real on this channel. I'm not here to tell you things are super crazy or with buyers gobbling up everything, or necessarily that things are like crashing like most channels do, because that's how they make the most money on clicks and views. So we've seen a lot of that, you know, a lot of those kinds of signs. But then on top of that, the third kind of sign and indicator on the flip side is that we've just been seeing signs for like these new construction communities and like these, you know, like Welland Park master plan communities. A lot of times, like they would have a sign up on the edge of the community by the entrance. to let you know about their prices, what, you know, for the models, you know, homes from the 400s, from the 300s, for villas, or whatever the case may be. And they would show those things, you know, right there though. Now we're starting to see them like scattered throughout Venice, and, you know, like miles down the road to kind of guide you to come check out the community. And we just didn't really see that, you know, years ago. Also shows you how much that the new construction communities are willing to work with you now, you know, and try to get you, you know, into one of their homes so they can keep inventory moving and keep building and completing these communities on, you know, on time and plan, which, you know, they're going to do what they need to do to make that happen. So again, you know, like I don't know if I mentioned it in this video or if it was a previous one, we helped a client save $90,000 on a new construction home. So get a hold of us so we can help you save as much as possible. I'm not guaranteeing we're gonna save you $90,000 on a resale home or a new construction home or anything. It depends on the situation. But we know how to talk and deal with the builders, and we have some relationships with them, so they want us to keep bringing people back. But we're always gonna have you number one. So we want to try to make you, you know, save as much money as possible if you're looking to move here. I know I throw a lot at you. Things seem like they're getting busier, but at the same time, on the flip side, it seems like maybe builders are a little more desperate right now. So put it all together, I don't know what to completely make of it right now. I think in another month or two, we'll get a better sense for kind of, you know, where the market's going. But in the meantime, I think this is a pretty good time to buy, honestly. Especially, you know, I was gonna say new construction, but really new construction or resale, just because we've seen a lot more wiggle room with a lot of resale homes as well. So whatever it is you're looking to do, if you're looking to move from Sarasota down to Port Charlotte, Inglewood, or the entire Orlando Metro, get a hold of our team, 941-221-1897. We've helped a lot of people avoid mistakes, save a lot of money, and get answers to those questions that's just impossible to find anywhere else. And we would love to help you too. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home anywhere else in Florida or the entire United States for that matter, you can click the link in the description, answer a few questions. That'll get you connected with a local realtor that knows that area, and that'll do the same thing for you that we would do for you. That doesn't cost you anything extra, but either clicking that link or getting a hold of our team is a good way to support the channel so we can keep making new videos like this one. If you want to know more about moving to Florida, check out this video right here and live breezy.